following program are not necessarily the views of this station and Guarantee Media. Content is for entertainment purposes only.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
All right, coming to you live from Guarantee Broadcast downtown Baton Rouge. It is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. My man Mike right here on the board, making sure it all sounds good and work well. Good morning to everybody that are listening. It is finally here, football season. I hope you guys are prepared and ready. You guys have probably been watching games since last week, week 0, coming over to Thursday. And now week 1 is underway. It is football season, and it is. You can just feel it in the air and how anxious the Jaguar Nation is to find out what this Southern University football team is going to look like now under first-year head coach Terrence Graves. Today's matchup against McNeese State over in Lake Charles. Get you a poncho just in case. Could be a rainy forecast in for the day. I don't want you to get caught off guard. Get you a poncho. Great show lined up for you guys today. My man Thomas White of Mogul Threads. Going to come on at 7:15 and talk to us because I know when it's football season, right, you have to get your apparel. And my man Thomas White has the apparel. He'll be set up over in Lake Charles today. That's his hometown. So he'll be set up over there. I'm going to give you guys some information, talking with him that will help you be able to find out where to find him to get your shirts, your jackets, whatever you need, socks, hats, all of it. As the season takes on, just starting from game 1 and continue to move on by the time we get to November and hopefully December. At 7:30, Matthew Bunnett is going to talk to us coming from McNeese. He's the athletic director and head over athletics communications. He's going to talk to us a little bit about, for you guys that are coming in, parking, tickets, the stadium, bags, whatever the case it is that you need to know when you show up at McNeese, because it could be a foreign place to you. How often do you go to McNeese football games or in that stadium or know what's going on? So because it is the first game and I know the Jaguar Nation is going to be showing up, we're going to have Matthew come on and talk to us about the do's and don'ts and just some tidbits about how to make your travel over to McNeese today just a little bit better by just filling you in. 7:45, we're going to have Dr. Kedrick Taylor, Director of Bands at Southern University, talk to us about what's the band's plans for today. Then my boy Blue, Zach, will be on at 8 o'clock. We're going to talk some McNeese State football. We're going to do a preview. It's time for us to get to know our opponent for today. And then right after that, you know my guy Jim Klein, Peter the Advocate. We're going to talk about Southern, give you a perspective of both. So we're doing game preview, game prediction, and we're filling you in on all the game day things that are going to take place today, from apparel to parking, tickets, and then both teams as well as the band. I hope you guys are ready for a great show because football season is here. No more waiting, no more guessing, no more just I wonder what is. We're going to find out quick, fast, in a hurry what it's going to be like today in terms of Southern University taking on McNeese State. McNeese State had an opponent last week as they played in week 0. The first game, college football game, played on American soil last week. Of course, Georgia Tech, Florida State played over in Ireland. But McNeese and Tarleton had a hell of a game last week. Tarleton State, a top 25 FCS program. McNeese State found a way to come back in that ball game. Lost by 3 points. To me, poor game management towards the end if you had an opportunity to check out that game. But nonetheless, their quarterback, Clifton McDowell, who we're going to talk about a little bit later into the show, initially was a commit to Southern University. Decommitted, went to Montana, started 10 games at Montana once they named him starting, and ultimately led them to the FCS National Championship against South Dakota State. They fall short. He transfers, and now he's at McNeese State. So you're going to definitely see a lot of that kid today, but just to fill you in on a little bit in terms of what's going on. Mike, let's get ready to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to have my man Thomas White Jr. talk to us about Mogul Threads so you can get your game day apparel for today's big matchup, Southern University versus McNeese State. You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More to Jaguar Journal.
Danny Johnson, first and foremost, outstanding young man, great character, great young man. Can't say enough about him. Great father. You always see him, hanging around with his son and spending time with his son and his family. As a player, I can't say enough about him. He has all the athletic ability that you would want in a kid with playing corner, the footwork, speed, all the intangibles.
I have a good work ethic. It's been a lot of times, in the off season, I gotta just push myself to go work out. Even if nobody else was out there, just to get an extra push when we get back into the season. Because I always want to have that edge over everybody else. So, it's just that mindset that I have. I want to be one of the best. So, I gotta push myself. If anybody else does. And it's like a lot of stuff that I want to do with my son that I can't do because I'm playing ball. So my biggest return to him is just, having him come to games on Saturday. He can see his father play in front of, thousands of people. It's just, it makes him happy. So whenever he's happy, I'm happy. But just when I get the chance to just go home and, hear everything, he's been doing in school and, what he likes and doesn't like, it just brings me back to that fatherhood of just being around him, and that's what I like to do. I put academics over football because, I can't play football forever. At some point, I'm going to have to rely on that degree. So, that's my biggest thing, and that's one reason why I came to Southern, to get that degree. So I set myself up to where I'll be able to graduate right after the season. So if football doesn't work out for me, I can always come back and go to grad school. So, education is a big thing for me.
Danny Johnson will put Southern University on a, national stage. Obviously, everybody knows about Jag Nation and Southern University, but you'll see Danny Johnson playing on Sunday one day, and he'll be able to be an ambassador, for the university.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal. All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody listening out there on 107.3 FM here in the Baton Rouge area, and everybody watching and listening to us on our YouTube channel. Good morning to you guys. Hit that subscribe button while you're at it. And if you haven't and you listening, go over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. We would love to have your support. And everybody watching on our Facebook Live, good morning to you guys all across the Facebook groups and everywhere else. Be sure to go follow the Jaguar Journal Facebook page. And as we continue to get the day going, as it is week 1, football season is underway. Southern taking on McNeese, Jaguar Nation headed over to Lake Charles. There's going to be a lot of interest from people around the state as they flood into the city. And guess what? With that interest means people need apparel. They need shirts, hats, socks, whatever the case may be to represent Southern University and whoever else that they want. And I got just the man for the plan who can help you out. My man, Thomas White Jr. of Mogul Threads. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, Perry?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Man, it's a great day, man. First game of the season. Excited. Basically, I couldn't sleep. I was rolling over like I'm gonna get suited up and get out on the field or something.
I think you and a lot of other Jaguar fans are feeling the same way. But most importantly, you have a business, Mogul Threads, man. Talk to us about the company that you have and what you have to offer.
Well, Mogul Threads, I got the vision when I was at Southern. Of course, I had to work my way up to get the money to build it up. So after I graduated, I earned another degree, but it was still in my mind and in my spirit. So, I worked towards that. We got everything going in terms of documentation, and then we started rolling with the apparel. And so we offer licensed merchandise for Southern University, and recently we have added more licenses, such as McNeese, Texas Southern, and we also have Grambling. So we're about to roll that out. We're updating the website right now, so please be patient. Everything is going to be ready, but today we're ready for you. We're going to be set up at 4309 Common Street. I think we offer top-notch gear, top-notch quality service. Customer service with quality. I hope everybody's happy. We try to put out the best all the time. And if we can't get it for you at that time, we definitely make sure that we get it for you and we follow up.
You talking about the type of apparel that you have? Give some insight, man. I know I have on one of your hats right now, man, that you got me laced up with, but some of the things that you have to offer, Thomas.
Oh, shoot. We offer caps, socks. So really we look at it from the standpoint of we got you covered from head to toe. We got caps, we got sweaters, tackle twill, the fancy stuff. So if you want to be casual, we offer that. If you want to step your game up and you want to be top notch and have everybody, trying to figure out where you got your gear, that's the way we approach it. We want to make sure you want to know where to get that. You know what I'm saying? We offer that embroidery, just anything that you can imagine. And this year, like I said, with us adding the new licenses, we're excited. We have more pieces coming out in addition to what we've offered in the past. And I think the people are really going to be excited, man. I just can't wait. And we also offer custom apparel. It's an exciting point right now for Mogul Threads.
Where you going to be set up at today, Thomas, for the people that's coming over in Lake Charles to be able to find you and say, you know what, I want to grab something to support?
Yeah, so it's 4309 Common Street. Common Street will lead you into the stadium, but it's right near, actually, from the tailgate area where the Southern Jaguars are supposed to be. You can walk from that location. Oh, now, of course, it's supposed to be a little bit of rain. I'm looking at the weather now. It's dreary, but that is not raining. So we're going to pray that it remains the same, but it's 4309 Common Street.
Would you happen to have ponchos on you today? You have some ponchos?
We're going to have some ponchos. It's going to rain, so we got to make sure we take care of that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Jaguar Nation, if you show up and you said you're looking around, tell them again where you're going to be at so they can get those ponchos just in case to add along to protect that Mogul Threads shirt, hat, and all the other apparel.
Yeah, that's that 4309 Common Street. And like I said, it's right by the Southern University tailgate. It's walking distance. So you're talking about maybe 100 feet, 150 feet.
Now, you are a Lake Charles native, man. For you to see the Jaguar Nation and Southern be able to come to your hometown, how big is this for you? And as well as even to have your business there being supported by the very institution that you graduated from?
Oh man, this is huge. I mean, to come home is always a blessing, but to come home and know that Jaguar Nation is rolling into town, that's always big because we roll deep. We're family. We're different from other universities. In that aspect, we family. You'll run into anybody anywhere, and it's just a great feeling. And of course, I love taking care of my customers. So excited, looking forward to that. And to add on to that, Perry, I'm a part of that Washington Marion pipeline heading to Southern University. So I'm a charging Indian. I get some flack sometimes from Peabody and some other schools around the state, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's all love. We all Jags, and we're here to support the Jags. And I ask that the customers come out and support me on today.
When you talk about supporting you, what about your social media sites? Anybody that's out there listening say, hey, let me check out some stuff. Maybe it's something I can see before I get there. What's your social media sites for them to be able to keep up with your business as well as website?
So all handles for social media is going to be Mogul Threads. We keep it simple, Mogul Threads. And so we're rolling out we're going to drop something. As soon as we get off the phone, we're going to drop some. We got some dope gear ready for you, man. I'm just so excited. And of course, this is a white T-shirt game. So we're going to make sure that we keep everybody as dry as possible with the ponchos. But your T-shirt game is going to be on point, as well as caps. You need a cap, for your hair to cover it, whether it's raining or you may be thinking your hair may get a little frizzy or whatnot. We just trying to make sure we got everybody covered and everybody have a great time. The Jags pull off this win, and we go on to next week.
I'm looking forward to today, man. A big crowd, and I guess how you feel with Southern coming to town in Lake Charles is how I feel when Southern comes to town in Pine Bluff, man. I know how big it is for that community and the economic impact and what it means to be able to have the school that you love and represent to come in and represent in your hometown. So I understand that feeling, man, especially when you're not from here, but you have an opportunity for Southern to play the school in your hometown. Did you grow up going to McNeese games?
To be honest with you, not really. But small fact, most people don't know, I began my college career at McNeese.
Oh!
But I transferred to Southern, and, nothing against McNeese, but it was the best decision I made in my life in terms of becoming a part of the Jaguar Nation. It was a transition, but it was needed, and I'm successful today, as we all talk about, because of Southern University, and I'm so grateful to the university.
Overall, once again, Thomas, give the people the address of where you at today, as well as your social media sites, so people can be able to follow up with you, Mogul Threads, to go get the game day gear. And just in case it rains, he has the ponchos on deck as well. So give them that information again, where you'll be set up in Lake Charles today, Thomas.
Yeah, it's 4309 Common Street. And on the social media, we're Mogul Threads, all handles. And so on the social media, we will drop the new designs that we have. We'll have a map. We'll also have the address once again for you to have. So don't fret. Just give us a minute. We're going to have that rolling, and I think you'll be excited. And just come on down and shop with us, and we'll get together. We got the socks for the feet too. We ready to rock and roll. So we're going to work around this weather and work in the weather, and it's going to be all good. And Perry, if you don't mind, there's two other things I would like to share with the Jaguar Nation.
Go ahead.
In regards to, like I said, we do sell the custom apparel and things of that nature, and also the official licensed apparel. But I'm an active Houston chapter member, and I'm a lifetime member for the Houston chapter as well as the national chapter. So we've done dealings with the organizations on campus. We've given back. We're looking for ambassadors. Currently, like I said, we're growing, so this is an exciting time right now for Mogul Threads. And any insight or any questions that you may have, feel free to ask. We'll give you the answers, and if we don't know, of course, we're gonna work toward it, and we're gonna give you, we're gonna give you the truth. We're not gonna spin you around the block.
Well, Thomas, man, I appreciate you for coming on this morning. One more time, you can never say it enough, man. Where you going to be located at today?
4309 Commerce Street.
4309 Commerce Street. That's over in Lake Charles, Louisiana. You guys be sure to meet him there as you get your apparel and your ponchos and everything else that you may need for today's big game, Southern University versus McNeese, Lake Charles. And he's a Lake Charles native, so go support a Southern University grad and a Lake Charles native. And that's the beauty of when you have your business, man. You can go back to your hometown today, so that really has to be a big deal and feel special where you can go back home in your own hometown and be able to have your business there with the people who you went to school with or who support the same thing that you support, to be able to be right there to support you. So, Thomas, man, I'm happy for you, man. I hope everybody get over there and get a chance to check you out today.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I appreciate everything that y'all do at Jaguar Journal. And I also want to congratulate Mr. CJ on his achievement. So, just doing great things, man. Y'all keep up the good work. Y'all give us all the information, and very important that y'all do for us, because I tune in and I get a lot of information, Perry, and I really appreciate what y'all do.
I appreciate you, Thomas, man. Hope to see you a little bit later as we head over to Lake Charles, man. Appreciate you for coming on this morning.
Yes, sir, and go Jags.
Go Jags. That's my man, Thomas White Jr., Mogul Threads. You guys be sure to go check him out. Has some great apparel. Get your stuff together for today's big game. If you don't have the shirt, the hat, the socks, or even the poncho prepared for today's big game, Thomas will have it for you over in Lake Charles. Hey, we got to get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side. Going to have Matthew Barnett from McNeese State going to talk to us about some do's and don'ts today and some information just for as you headed into Lake Charles to help your day move just a little bit smoother as Southern takes on McNeese. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket, and his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver Hayes makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
pass.
It's
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing, nice catch made.
Receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out a foul.
Touchdown.
Backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle, has his man at the 15. You know, I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle, and a one-handed grab made.
The way. 3rd down and 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet, and Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back 5 yards. Levy on 3rd down, looking down the sideline. Yes, sir! Big time play.
step it up like they're going to blitz, he really is going to start thinking.
Levy pump and go. Levy finds his receiver, Devin Lewis. Good experience, a receiver experience for Hines.
How great is it to have a quarterback coach? Tipped ball is caught by Hayes. Michael Hayes has the speed. Hayes to the 10. Touchdown.
It's 2 core passes today.
3rd and 4. Here is Gayen with the reception and the first down. Shakes one tackler. Still going inside the 30. Gayen to the 10 and dragged out of bounds. Down at the 15 for Southern. Terrence Levy wings it down the sideline for Hayes. Racehorse offense. Again showing its first pressure on Ingram as Levy just hung it up with the blitz coming and Ingram uncovered.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Southern.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500 plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket. And his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Week 1, it is football season. It has arrived. No more anticipation because today Southern University travels over to McNeese State over in Lake Charles. Be sure to possibly get your ponchos. As I said, my man Mogul Threads, Thomas White, told you where to find him if you want to get your gear, as well as the possible ponchos for today's big matchup, FCS opponent Southern versus McNeese. And, you know, when you talk about football season, at Southern University, you can't talk about the Southern football team without incorporating the Southern University marching band. And so no better guest to have this morning than Dr. Kedrick Taylor, the director of the Southern University Human Jukebox. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, man. It's always good to hear your voice, my guy, man. And listen, it's football season, so that means the band is in full swing, and you guys were in full swing last week as it was week 0 for you guys when you're talking about competition. You were over for the National Battle of the Bands in Houston, Texas. And now as you prepare for game 1 with the football team, the Jaguar Nation, the spirit is there, and we're getting ready to head over to Lake Charles. Let's go ahead and ask this. Is the band headed to Lake Charles today?
Yes, the band is headed to Lake Charles today. We're actually going to go early. We'll be at Lake Charles Boston High School. Well, they will have, like, the fans in the area going to come and meet and greet the students so they can, you know, kind of get to know the band, and the band can talk to the high school students where they can, you know, get ideas and tips on how to get to the Human Jukebox. So they're going to do a little community service before the game started.
I love that, man. And look, I'm going to get this on a shirt. Is the band coming? I think that's one of the biggest sayings around the SWAC anytime there's a football game. They want to know, is the band coming, especially when you're on the road. So I'm going to get that on the shirt, man. Is the band coming? I think that'll be a pretty big seller, man. As you guys prepare, how was everything last week for you and the band? Listen, I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet when it comes to other programs, but I haven't seen anybody put anything out on Southern when it comes to mistakes and everything else. Look like you got those students together, man, and you put on a show for the people over in Houston.
Well, I can say that our students stepped up like never before. You know, I think a lot of people think when they see the Southern University band that is on autopilot, but it takes a lot of work to get those students to playing at a high level, given, you know, their mental health, given the situations that they face day to day, you know, just all the adversity of today. And to still be able to get those students to perform at a high level speaks volume to the staff at Southern University for the Human Jukebox. And I commend, you know, the staff and the students on a job well done at the National Battle Band. They had us behind none other than the artist Boosie. And, you know, at first I was like, man, how we going to come behind Boosie? But people didn't leave their seats. They stayed, you know, they wanted to see the show. And, you know, we did a tribute to our students that we lost as of recent, and, you know, people just was like in awe. It was like, man, you know, the show had us almost in tears because of the powerful message behind it and the well-executed formations and, you know, just the whole show in general. So that's what it's all about. Music is the art of feeling, and we want to make you feel what it is that we put into the jukebox. So definitely the quarters ain't working no more. We got to get these debit cards going now.
It's evolved a little bit, huh?
Yeah, they can't see no more quarters in the jukebox.
Let me ask you this, man, because I think oftentimes, right, you know, I see people, everybody has their opinions about something, but, man, at the end of the day, I don't think people realize, because I talk about it often on here about student athletes, right? But at the same time, we're talking about these musicians that march in this band that are students as well, and the hard work that when you watch it on YouTube and when you watch it on game day, you don't really realize what's going on over there in the Isaac Greggs Band Hall and how much work you guys and these students are putting in for this crowd and people and the world each and every day.
Man, these students put so much time that I was talking to John Grant, who's over the SWAC MEAT Challenge, and he had me to look at it a total different way. That's when they started doing the Battle of Bands for colleges. He's like, man, you know, it's a sport, and I think a lot of people don't realize that it is. These students put in more hours probably than anybody on the campus as it relates to organization. You know, they have to learn music, and we don't play music by sheet music once we learn it. They have to memorize the music, you know. They memorize the music, as well as go outside, learn different formations, and they put that music with those formations. So you got to remember all of those things. Imagine how much things their brain has to process at one time. So those students do a good job of that, for one. But they also have to be conditioned to be able to pick their legs up and blow those instruments, because you're using almost every muscle on your body playing an instrument to breathe and project that air through the horn, to hold those instruments. They're not light. To sit there and hold those tubas on your shoulders for hours, it takes a lot to hold those cymbals. Just even the drum major doing the back bend, most people think it's just simple, but it's not that simple. And, I want to commend our drum major. He came and stepped in. We had some things take place with our last drum major, and that kid came in the morning of us leaving to go to the National Ballot Band. He learned everything he needed to learn from our previous drum major that, trained him within less than 24 hours, and the kid went out and performed. You'd have never thought that we were missing a drum major. If, you were just watching it, the kid came out and executed like never before, but it takes a special talent to be able to do what these students are doing. They not just blowing instruments. It's a gift, a talent to be able to play an instrument, march, execute, and keep lines straight, and remember your music, and still being able to go to class while doing all that. That's a lot. When I was in the band, we weren't as we didn't have to do as much as these students. With social media, people expect the jukebox to do a new show every time they see them, and that's almost impossible. It's like, when I was in the band, we did probably maybe 2 or 3 shows a year. And people appreciate it, because when they saw the band, it was just like almost like seeing your favorite artist. And, that's how it was when we were in the band. But now, man, people want to hear new music every week. They want to see a new show every week. And that's a lot of practice and creativity to execute that at a high level.
And this is why I think the band, the Southern University Marching Band, affectionately known as the Human Jukebox, man, is the biggest asset on the campus of Southern University. The things that you guys do with the value that it creates to the brand of Southern University is unmatched. And when you talk about artists shouting you guys out, magazines and publications that give you guys platforms to say, hey, have y'all seen this band? Have you heard this band? I've even watched people overseas in Europe and Australia do reviews of being in tune and learning about Southern, of just watching the band videos on YouTube and being blown away and shocked by how great this band is and what you guys are able to go out there and perform. And I just think within that value that you guys create, Southern and the community really has to truly zero in and realize how great it is. But nonetheless, to realize you have to take it serious about the work that you guys put in and those students put in to make this thing a success, because this wasn't just created overnight. It has been 40, 50 years of this thing going on and on and on. And I say sometimes you can make something look so easy where, because the outside people don't realize all the hard work, they think anybody can do it, or they just think, hey, it takes nothing. But they don't realize how hard it is for you guys to perfect what you do.
Yeah, man, it takes a lot of hours, a lot of processing, a lot of training. Like, even for the staff, to come up with these songs and write them, everybody wants to hear the latest and greatest. These guys take our time that they're not on the clock, that they don't get paid for, to write these songs so the students can play them. Even with that, it still takes creativity, because the music today sometimes is harder to write because they ain't giving you much music to pull from to write. That's why I stick to the older tunes, because it's way more musical. Like, if you pull a Michael Jackson song, you got to choose what you want to write on that. It just gives you so much.
Yeah.
And nowadays, man, when you write certain songs from certain artists, you're like, what the music? And the kid's like, you don't hear it? No, I will hear it. I will hear it. Triple it. And to the average person, they're not going to be able to understand that. But that's the music of today. That's what people like to hear. That's what they want to hear. But you also have those Jaguar fans that want to hear those standards.
Yeah.
And we got to play, that fight song, the alma mater, things that mean so much to our fans, spirit. I'm so glad, those songs have a lot of meaning and a lot of history to them. So we have to continue to learn those songs and teach our students the value of some of the traditions that we have at Southern University.
Listen, I know it's a good day when I see you stand up yelling fight song and I hear that fight song all day. I know Southern doing something good, Dr. Taylor.
Hey, man, I'm hoping that we can play that fight song at least 60 times today.
I'm looking forward to it. Once again, it is correct. The Southern University Marching Band will be in Lake Charles today for the McNeese State game, correct?
Yes, sir. We will be in attendance.
And you guys are going to you said some community service beforehand. Once again, give us some information about that.
So we'll be at Lake Charles Boston High School. And once we get there, the band's going to practice some of the show, play a few songs for the students, and then they'll let the students greet the band and the community. And, the dancing dolls, everyone is going to be out there. So it'll be a nice occasion for the city of Lake Charles to, get to have the opportunity to talk to the students when, most times they let them know, hey, they are human, that you can definitely talk to them, and they'll love, showcase and let them know how they can get to that level. So it's always good to give back to the community and always let students know, hey, you too can do this no matter where you come from.
Often imitated but never, ever duplicated. The Southern University Marching Band. Listen, I get excited. That's why you're the number one band in the land, because you guys go out and put on such great performances, and I'm looking forward to a great performance today. It's football season, ladies and gentlemen. It is week 1, and nothing better than to hear that fight song cranked up on a first down, a turnover, or a touchdown. I'm looking forward to it today, Dr. Taylor.
I am too, man. I can't wait. Go Jags, David.
Go Jags. Thank you, Dr. Taylor.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, let's keep this thing rolling. We take a break. Let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we'll get ready to close out and get to the top of the hour. So, hey, it's week 1. Are you excited like me? Do you feel it? Is it in the air? Don't worry, I'll get it. Wait till the 8 o'clock hour. I'll definitely get it in the air for you. Hey, Mike, let's take a break. We'll be right back. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier?
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a 1st and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket, and his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot.
All right, good morning to everybody. It is the Jaguar Journal. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Shout out to everybody watching us on our YouTube channel. As always, I love to have your support on there. Our subscribers are steady growing. Guess what? I guess it's working. You guys are listening to me. I guess the shows are getting better, and I'm not so annoying at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning anymore to you guys. So I appreciate the growing support, man. We love it here, and thank you guys for everything that you do. As we have seen the subscribers go up, the viewers going up, man, and just thank you guys for everything that you're doing. It is paying off. So if you haven't, here we go. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Guess what? It costs you nothing. I don't need your birth certificate. I don't need anything, Social Security number. I just need your love and support because guess what? As the season continues to progress, as we're talking about football and everything else surrounding, we're going to have guests, and you're going to hear me break down these games along with others. And, man, I love to have you guys right here with us. And for a lot of you, if you don't get a chance to catch us for the full 2-hour show, this gives you an opportunity to go back and listen, especially on those road trips when Southern does, like today, heads over to Lake Charles. I'll get you all the way to Lake Charles with a 2-hour show. From Baton Rouge to Lake Charles, I have you prepped and ready by the time you get into the stadium. You'll know everything you need to know about McNeese State as well as Southern University. And guess what? You just found out the band will be there. You know where to go get your apparel from my man Thomas White with Mogul Threads. So for 2 hours, I'll get you where you need to go, and that's why it's important for you guys to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel and everybody watching on our Facebook. And guess what? For the hundreds of thousands of people that listen on the radio waves this morning, good morning to you guys, too, Baton Rouge, Alexandria, and all across the state of Louisiana. Glad to have you guys with us. Just to let you know, to fill you in on today's weather for Lake Charles. Right now, it's 75 degrees over in Lake Charles. The high is going to be about 84. There's a chance of rain in the forecast. The way I'm looking at it right now, at about 5, 6 o'clock today, it's going to clear up about 30%. And I don't see anything about kickoff. It's going to be about 79 degrees at kickoff. Look like the rain is going to push out right when this thing is going to kick off. So if you're going to head over there today, just kind of hold off a little bit. It'll be okay. As game time gets around 6 o'clock kickoff, things seem to be clearing up for the Southern University versus McNeese State football game. Hope you guys are ready for a big day of football as these two teams will take on each other. 7 o'clock, excuse me. I'm saying 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock kickoff. Even better. Even better. No rain in the forecast at 7 o'clock as McNeese State and Southern University battle this thing out. 7 o'clock tonight, Lake Charles. Get you guys ready. Hey, you know traffic is going to be a little heavy. So properly plan. Get there in the amount of time, especially if you're going to get there and you're talking about weather along with it also. So you got to plan properly. Don't try to pull up in there 30 minutes before the game and act like you're going to find a parking spot and everything is going to work out. You know better. You know better, especially on away games in the state of Louisiana. You know how we do. We go break stadium attendance records. That's what we do. We love to travel. We like to go take over other people's stadiums. That's going to be in full effect today. And for me, once again, Terrence Graves takes over this program. This is now his program. A lot of people want to know how this thing is going to look, including myself. I've seen the Jaguars, but I haven't seen them against nobody else. I've seen them against each other. I'm curious to see because I watched McNeese State last week against Tarleton. And the first half, that McNeese State team I saw, I said, look, hey, I like what I see. That second half, I said, man, this could be a problem. They held Tarleton State on the first 4 possessions of the third quarter to only 19 yards. And listen, Tarleton State had a pretty damn good running back in Kavion Britton, who had transferred from UAPB. But that starting quarterback hurt his hand, and they ultimately took him out, and the second string came in, and McNeese State held up in the second half, holding Tarleton State scoreless and battled themselves back into that ball game. But we're going to talk more about that here at the top of the hour. It's my boy Blue Zach coming to you about FCS football. We're going to break down McNeese State football team, 50-plus transfers joining that football team, and give you everything you need to know about today's opponent over in Lake Charles. So when you get there, nobody will catch you off guard about who is this kid. I don't know nothing about this kid. We're going to fill you all the way in as we break down today's big matchup between Southern and McNeese, an FCS in-state game, which I love when these type happen. All right, so you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're at the top of the hour. When you come back, we're going to talk some McNeese State and break down the game for you, all right?
Southern was a little late to the game of football. They had started earlier in the CIAA up at Hampton and those schools up there. And when J.S. Clark became president of Southern University in 1914, he had already visited Tuskegee and these Howard and the other schools, and they had a football program. And he wanted to compete with them, not just in the classroom, but also on the football field. So it started as an intramural. We had intramurals when we first came in 1914 through 1916, 17, And then the intramural program evolved into the varsity, into the football program in 1918. Coach Big Charlie Holmes from Colorado State, he came here as an assistant coach, but he took over around 1922, 1923, and he did very well through the early 20s. But he came up to 26. He broke even. He was expected to do well, and 27. I don't find any records where he won any games there, and he was replaced. But the person he was replaced by was a legendary. Name is Bryce Union Taylor from the University of Southern California. Out there, he had been an All-American. He was the guy that stopped the four horsemen of Notre Dame. And then he went to Chaffin University in South Carolina at 27. In 1928, he became the head football coach at Southern University and athletic director. And he really put Southern on the map. He had a lot of firsts. First of all, he had the first All-Americans we had came under him. Therefore, he had the greatest winning percentage in Southern University. He won 85% of his game here. And he had our first undefeated season in 1931 when he was 7-0, and but he was not declared national champ, but he was considered for that. But he was our first great coach during that early period, Bryce Union Taylor. We don't want to forget him. Arnett W. Mumford, he's a national icon in coaching. He had coached 10 years in Texas, Jarvis Christian, Bishop, and Texas College. But the last 5 or 6 years at Texas College, he was very, very outstanding. He won 2 SWAC titles, and he had won a national black championship at Texas College and 35. So therefore, Southern was interested in getting him here, and Dr. Felton Clark was very instrumental, the person to get him here. But his impact it goes much further than Southern University and State of Louisiana. He won 12 SWAC titles, 10 of them at Southern and 2 at Texas College. And he won 5 or 6 national black championships. And also, he was very successful in the first interracial bowl game, the Fruit Bowl in San Francisco in 1948 when he played San Francisco State. And he won that game decisively. But his influence extended much further than the boundaries of Southern University. He was recognized nationally as a great coach. His winning record, he didn't coach over a period of 35 years, and a couple of those years they didn't have teams because of the war. But he won 246 games, second only to Eddie Robinson with his 402 game over 55 years, I should add. And so it always had loyal supporters, and they would follow the team everywhere. They would go in large numbers. So Southern became the team that everyone loves to beat, loves every Saturday. It's the toughest game we have every Saturday. So if they don't win another game, they figure if they win the Southern game, they had a good season. And because we carry a large crowd with us everywhere we go too, so a lot of people like that. And we like to brag about how good we are. And of course that helps out. But it is a vista to the university, using the football athletics period to use that way to introduce the university to people who may not have known the university. Went through a period of 20 years, 30 years, I believe it was, after Mom, till we got Coach Pete Richardson in 1982, 83, and then he returned us to the glory years. Rivalry with Grambling has always been there because it's an intrastate rivalry. And we played Grambling a few times before 1948, but after then, we didn't play them anymore until we became a member of SWAC in 1959. But FAMU filled that void with Jake Gaither and A.W. Mumford. Those were some of the greatest games that you ever would see. And they became our main rivalry after 1948. But the exposure that the biggest thing that we can say about the rivalry is that
All right, good morning, everybody. We are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. I'm reporting live right here, Guarantee Broadcast downtown Baton Rouge. It is week 1 college football, and as we're talking about college football, of course, we're dedicated to Southern University. We're going to talk some SWAC, MEAC, and all some other stuff. But as we talk about today, Jaguar Nation, I know you guys are ready to see what they call the Grays edition. Coach Terrence Grays and the Southern University Jaguars hit the road to head over to Lake Charles, Louisiana, to take on McNeese State. And nobody better to talk about McNeese State as we break down today's game is my man Blue Zach McKenna from FCS Sport Football Central. Good morning, Zach.
What's up, man? I appreciate you having me on the show again.
Man, look, nobody better to talk some FCS football than you, man. You know, I get caught up with a lot of people. We talk SWAC and MEAC, but outside of that, man, I enjoy having the conversations with you because I do pay attention to a lot of other conferences, whether it's FCS football, Group of Five, and, of course, like most of us, Power Five. But it's just good to be able to have the conversation with you. And most importantly, today's opponent that Southern's taking on is an FCS opponent also in McNeese State coming out of the Southland Conference. This team, as you talked to me last time, brought in over 50-plus transfers in their first-year head coach, and then one of those transfers is going to be their starting quarterback today, Clifton McDowell, a guy that was initially committed to Southern 2 years ago. He went over to Montana, started 10 games once they named him the starter, led them to an FCS national championship appearance, and they fell short against defending national champion South Dakota State. But then he transfers Prairie View for a quick second, then decommits, and then comes over to Lake Charles, and now he's the top guy over at McNeese. But, Zach, as we look at the entire McNeese State matchup, let's start with their head coach. Talk to me a little bit about their head coach.
Yeah, man, listen, Goff has had a lot of success in his career as a head coach. It just hasn't necessarily transition to McNeese as much. I mean, you got to remember he was 22-3 over his two seasons at Valdosta State before he took over McNeese. He led them to the national championship in 2021, but it's just been a rebuild at McNeese. And they went 4-7 that first year. Last year, the wheels kind of fell off as the quarterback was really atrocious, man. At times, the defense was allowing over 250 yards rushing a game. No quarterback, no offensive production. They went 0-10 on the field. Technically, their only win was a forfeit win against Northwestern State due to that unfortunate situation that happened over there. But I think you saw some promise last week out of them. But I think golf this week, this might be a must-win, Perry. I don't know if McNeese can afford to buy him out this year, but in terms of just the overall momentum of the program, I think this is a big one. If he loses this game, you look at that schedule and you wonder, where does the win come for them? Because they do have a tough schedule. I think even Northwestern State looked really good in their FCS game 2 nights ago. But you get Southern, and then you go to at Texas A&M, and then you get Stephen F. Austin, Alcorn, and Weber State your next 3 games. So you could easily be going into the bulk of your conference schedule winless if you don't get this game.
You know, you look at McNeese, and let's start on the offensive side of the ball, and let's start with their offensive line and work our way out. What do we know about their offensive line, Blue?
Listen, they got one of my favorite interior offensive linemen in Cole LeClaire. He's a multi-time starter, all-conference guy, has been one of the highest-graded interior offensive linemen probably over the past 2 years at the FCS level. He only allowed 1 sack last year, only 7 total quarterback pressures in over 600 snaps last year. And the year before, it was actually his highest graded year according to Pro Football Focus when he played as a true freshman. The kid's got good size, 6'3", 306, super fundamental. I think Cole LeClaire is the guy you should look at and have some high hopes for. And then last week, Elijah Melendez at right tackle and William Bresci at right guard both looked really good. Actually, 2 of the higher graded offensive linemen in week 0 in the entire country. Both of those guys look like they had some, I would say, solid potential. But you look at the biggest thing with the offensive line with McNeese is they finally added the size. Their starters probably average somewhere around 6'4", all over 300 pounds. Bresci's 6'6", 340, starting at right guard. So a really good size on the offensive line, and that's something that they lacked last year, in my opinion, and they did a really good job of revamping this offensive line this year.
talking about the offensive line, those big guys, the buffet busters as we call them. They have to provide protection for the quarterback, but most importantly, make those lanes open for the running back. Didn't see a lot from the running game from McNeese last week against Tarleton State. Looked like they put a lot on their quarterback. But what does that running back room look like for them?
I think they have a fairly talented running back room, in my opinion. I know McDowell kind of led them rushing last week, but even with him, he only put up, 67 rushing yards?
Yep, 20 carries, 67 yards.
They still ran for 200 yards as a team, which is fairly impressive. The one guy I was impressed with, is I didn't expect him to start, was Deshaun Barbie. I didn't think he was going to win the starting job. I thought they were going to lean on Trevante Citizen. He had a lot of hype coming into this offseason. If you remember, Trevante, he started his career at Miami as a really, really high 4-star kid, has all the potential in the world. So I'm kind of curious of why they didn't lean on him more. He only got 2 carries last week, but I think they're going to have to be more efficient running the football against Southern, because if you just put it all on McDowell and allow Southern, who I think their best quality is getting after the quarterback, especially with Givens off the edge, if you allow Givens just to pin his ears back and get after McDowell, that's a bad recipe. So I think they're going to have to find a way to be a little bit more efficient running the football this weekend.
Let's look over at the wide receiver, because McDowell is going to have to look for some targets just in case he does have to get out of that pocket and scramble around. What do they look like at wide receiver?
This is the hardest evaluation because, Perry, we've only seen one game. I don't think the wide receivers were good on a down-to-down basis, but the thing that McNeese made the living off of last week was explosive plays. They had 8 plays over 15 or more yards, including both of those big touchdown passes from McDowell, one of which Matthew McAllister took 80 yards for a touchdown to really break this game open in the second half. And then Jamal Levi caught that 43-yarder early in the first quarter. No one else really did anything. Their leading wide receiver in terms of receptions had 4 catches for 24 yards. That's not going to get it done, in my opinion. So I'm very curious to see how they utilize the receivers on a down-to-down basis this time, because their success rate was under 40% last week against Charleston State, Perry, but they averaged 6.5 yards per play, which was one of the highest amounts, I think, just behind Montana State last week. So they produce explosive plays based on a little bit of film we got on this team, but they aren't necessarily efficient down-to-down basis throughout the game.
And let's look at the guy that they're going to put it all on his back today, Clifton McDowell. Let's break down Clifton McDowell and the type of playmaking ability that he has, because we know one thing, he can get it done with his legs, as we saw last week.
Man, this is the conversation I've really been waiting for, because I understand, listen, I want to put this out here. The kid is good. Perry, I understand the drawbacks that you see on film, and I see on too. But at the end of the day, the kid just has that it factor a little bit, where when you need a play made, he just always seems to be there, right? You look at last week, I understand Victor got hurt, who's the starting quarterback for Tarleton, but McNeese's offense looked night and day difference in that second half.
Yep. For one time, I think at one point he was 6 for 6 for 145 yards and a touchdown.
Yep. Yeah. And that's been the McDowell experience. Even if you go back to his Montana film from last year, there was this notable shift, and he blamed it on injury, and he very well could have been injured. I'm not going to take that away from him. But in the playoffs, you didn't see that. I call it kind of like a killer instinct for a quarterback. If you go watch his Montana State film, he was 17 for 22, 200 passing yards, 69 rushing yards, and 2 total touchdowns. And you switch over to the North Dakota State game, he was just scared to take opportunities to run the ball when it wasn't there. And you kind of saw that last week, where in the first half, he didn't look comfortable. He looked good on the first drive, but then from the second drive of the game to the mid-third quarter, he did not look like Clifton McDowell, and then all of a sudden it clicked. So here's my take on McDowell is, did it take time for him to get comfortable in the offense, or does he just need adversity to kind of click into that mode where he's got to go get it. And then that's when he turns into this amazing playmaker, because he put up over 300 total yards last week. So he didn't play a bad game per se, but I need to see him do more. I will say for Southern, I don't know what their defensive approach is going to be, but just in terms of the advanced analytics I've seen on Clifton, he does not like to be under pressure. He was 13 for 18, 242 and 2 touchdowns, had like almost a 90 PFF grade when he was kept clean in the pocket. When he was under pressure, he was 1 for 6 with an interception. That's the key for Southern.
Southern's going to have to bring their A game defensively today and create some pressure to keep him out of the way, because if he gets in the way, man, and he's a big kid, he can run you over as well. He can run by you. He is very elusive. Hey, Blue, can you stick with me for a minute? I got to get ready to take a break. Yep. We'll come back and we talk about some McNeese on the defensive side.
Yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue to break down today's ball game, Southern University versus McNeese State. My man, Zach McKinnell, talking with us. Blue, you're my boy. We'll be right back. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Darius Skelton has really had this wave of momentum for Southern.
Yeah, first-year player in this program. I love his decision-making. He makes quick decisions, particularly when running the run-pass option game. That's his specialty. He's been an impact for this offense since he took over as starting quarterback.
Well, Darius Skelton is a dual-threat quarterback. He can throw the football. He's very good at throwing the ball down the field. We're going to work on this spring those intermediate passes, but down the field, he's one of the better down the field passes that I've seen.
Play action, Skelton going for it all, has a man, and hauling it in is Hunter Register.
And then when you talk about running ability, he has running back capabilities. He can go the distance. He has the speed to go the distance. He has the power, and he has the vision. And I think when you put that with a dual threat quarterback, I think he's the reason why we're so happy about this coming season.
Skelton feeling the pressure. Skelton eludes a couple of tacklers. He's still on his feet. Oh my! Little shake and bake juke move, baby.
Being a quarterback, man, it's not easy at all. It was hard being here and having the expectations to be the starter and not being the starter. It was overwhelming. Like, I was ready to play, and not playing when I was ready to play just made me kind of look at life differently and really think, should I be here or should I not? And I talked to God, and he just settled me down, and he told me to be patient. That's what I did.
Skelton, who started the last 6 games of 2018 for the Jaguars. They went 5-1. Their only loss to Alcorn State in the SWAC title game. Taking the jet sweep, and Skelton awfully good with his leg. Blitz. Register, the receiver at the bottom of your screen. Nice grab. All who have had an impact here in the year lowing. Southern still. Skelton comes up for the 3rd time. Taking the jet sweep, he'll keep it. A good lead block as he cuts it to the outside. The fake to Ben. Skelton will run. And dragging with them for a few yards. There he is. The time, stepping up into the end zone, has registered. Flag down, catch made, touchdown, and it's actually... First quarter yards, Southern 121, McNeese 40. Fresh set of downs as we begin the second quarter. And looking deep, Skelton for Register.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107. All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there listening across the capital city area, all across the state of Louisiana, 107.3. Our affiliates over in Alexandria and everywhere else. Man, good to have you guys with us. Everybody watching on our YouTube channel, good morning. Hit that subscribe button. If you missed any part of the show, you can always go back and share it with somebody. Or guess what? I can get you all the way to Lake Charles today. If you listen from Baton Rouge, to Lake Charles as you get ready for the game and get you guys caught up on today's big matchup and everybody watching on all the social media in terms of Facebook, all across the groups and everything else. Hit that follow button and follow us on the Jaguar Journal. My man Zach McKinnell talking to us about some FCS football with me. Always enjoy having you on, Blue, as we're talking McNeese State on the FCS level. We got on the offensive side of the ball. Let's jump over to the defensive side of the ball, and let's look at McNeese State. And an area that I'm going to tell you that I was impressed with, that I slowly started to grow on me, Zach, was last week when I saw them against Tarleton State in the second half. Tarleton State's first 4 possessions in the second half, McNeese's defense held them to 19 yards, and it started for me up front. I started to really like what their D-line was doing to suppress the run from Tarleton State.
Yeah, I was impressed with them in the second half. It's just I wonder how much it was adjustment compared to Victor's injury, because I'll just say this, Jaden Pete looked atrocious when he got put in the game. And just an interesting stat for you, Perry, before Victor's injury, Tarleton State had 24 successful plays in the first half. After he left the game, he only posted 5 successful plays, and I think all of them were Kayvon Britton, which is just insane to think about. I will say this. I was a little bit worried at first. Micah Davey got kind of banged up in the last game, but that's a guy who should be back this weekend. Tristan Driggers from ULM was the other starting linebacker. He looked fairly good, but in terms of defensive line, I was impressed with their interior. They added a lot of size, man. Steven Johnson is the starting nose, 6'4", 330, and he's still technically a freshman. That's just insane to think about. And then they also got Welland Williams as the defensive tackle spot. But I really do think that the spot I need to see more production out of is defensive end. They got the Bandit and Wolf position. Marquez White starts at the Wolf. He was a graduate transfer from Dartmouth. I need to see more from him, especially given that on his film for Dartmouth, man, he was just a playmaker for that defense. And I didn't really see that last week. And then Matthew Lewis at the Bandit spot has to be big, even though he's a younger guy, redshirt sophomore. I think if you're gonna compete with Southern, not only do you have to get after the quarterback because you have to get to Noah so he doesn't get comfortable, you also have to slow down the run. Because let's just be honest, Barry, if there's one position offensively that everyone who's listening to this knows Southern has depth at, is running back.
Oh yeah,
you have to stop the run, or Southern's they're just going to run the football and put in a fresh running back every single play, and you're just going to be on your heels the entire game. So this defensive line, especially the nose and defensive tackle, have to play big tonight.
Let's then move over to linebacker for McNeese. What do you see there?
Man, it's all Micah Davey, man. Like I just said, he's just Perry. If there's a definition of just the right place, right time, and being able to read the play, it's Micah Davey.
And for the people who don't know, he is the son of Rohan Davey, former LSU quarterback.
Yes, yeah, just an insane athlete. I mean, Perry, he missed some time last game due to injury. He got banged up a little bit, had to come off the field for a bit. Still posted 14 total tackles last week, and that's kind of on the low end for him. I mean, last year, Perry, in only 10 games, he posted 153 total tackles. I mean, he is, and just for the SWAC fans listening, to give him a comparison, he is a more athletic Colton Adams. He's just everywhere. He's going to be in the right place, right time, has great vision, but he also has that speed, acceleration, athleticism to be a problem in the passing game as well, and he generates some solid negative plays for this McNeese defense. The other one is, like I said, Tristan Driggers, who is a very, very experienced transfer from ULM, 6'1", 202, played a lot at ULM, and so he'll be Davies' running mate back there. Both of those guys have a lot of potential, man. So, in my opinion, that's the strongest position on this defense for McNeese is that linebacker spot.
And let's take a step back and look at their defensive backs, who are going to try to make it a tough day for Noah Biden to pass the ball. What do they look like from the secondary?
Secondary was interesting last week. I'll say that. I was really impressed with their new starting cornerback, Yusef Leak, who transferred in from St. Thomas. He had a really, really, really solid performance. I think he was if I'm not mistaken, he was their highest graded defensive back last week. And then you also got the other corner, Javon Davis, who had a solid outing. Was targeted 5 times, only allowed 1 reception for 3 yards, had a pass breakup. So their two new starting corners played really, really well. I think safety could have been much improved. I think their safeties were called out of positions at times, especially in the first half. Same with their nickel. Wasn't super impressed with Reggie Ellis coming in, but I think if they stick with Javon Davis, though, they should be fine. But the guy to watch is number 6, Yusef Leak, transfer from Orlando, Florida. Man, that's the guy who I think it caused some problems on the outside.
All right, let's look at the matchup now. We went through McNeese. Hey, if you're just tuning in, my man Zach McKinnell, FCS Football Central, talking to us about McNeese State, today's opponent against Southern University. Zach, now as we culminate this and bring it all together, for you, predictions for today, what does this game look like, Southern versus McNeese?
Man, this has been one of the tougher games to predict for me, just because I think it's a must-win in different ways for both teams. I already kind of talked about why it's a must-win for McNeese, just in terms of Gary Goff as his job security and also the trajectory of the program. But Perry, there's been a lot of – this is the first time in a while, and Southern fans have always been super confident since I've been in this space. But this offseason has been a little bit quiet for them because I just don't know if they necessarily know what to expect out of this team. There's a lot of new pieces, fully new coaching staff, and I just think Southern fans are a little bit skeptical of what this thing's going to look like. And when I look at the schedule, if you lose this game, man, Jackson's coming in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, we got to go up to Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be a massive, massive game. And you've got some tough games looking ahead with PV, Nichols early in the season. So I'm very, very interested to see what Southern looks like. And I think this is a big game for Noah Bonnet as well. If he falls out, my confidence in Southern goes way, way up. And I really, really need Southern to win this game. I think this is a big game for Shelby Givens as well. This is to prove that all the All-American hype is real. Because last year I thought he was a little bit streaky, where he filled the stat box in a handful of games, but then would disappear in some bigger games, despite of how great of a year he had. So this is a big game for him, and I'm very interested to see what the secondary looks like for Southern too, Barry. That's one of my bigger concerns, is just who steps up in the secondary. I think this is going to be a close game, Perry, but when I put my picks in, I had McNeese winning this game by 3. I think it could go either way. This is the definition of me, a 50-50 game, but I do think Clifton McDowell, is his playmaking ability being at home, makes one play to give McNeese this game.
For either team, when you're looking at McNeese or Southern, must win. And for me, I made this point early this week. Now, I think this is a must win for Southern, and I say this because of the fan base, right? The fan base had to fire a coach. We fired a coach last year in Eric Dooley. You started to see the fan base really decline in terms of attendance. Really seemed like they lost faith in the program. And then you bring in Terrence Graves, who was the special teams coordinator last year. Then, you give him the old ball coach title. He goes into the Bayou Classic. We beat Grambling. But for me, this is one of those must-wins, Zach. And I say this simply because Southern has not beaten a football team in the state of Louisiana not named Grambling in over 20-plus years. And for me, you have an opportunity. I get the SWAC games, right? I enjoy the SWAC games. We've been beating them teams and playing those teams for 100 years. But it just feels a little different when you're able to go take on an FCS opponent within your state and you can walk away with a victory versus them, because guess what? All they really want to know is your band coming anyway. I'm tired of the disrespect, and I think now more than ever is Southern's opportunity with a McNeese program that is not the McNeese program of the early and the mid-2000s that was rolling on the FCS level. This is a vulnerable program that has a playmaker in Clifton McDowell, but most importantly for Southern to corral its fan base back up and to start the season, this is a winnable game. It's not ULM. It's not Louisiana Tech. It's not ULL. It's not LSU or Tulane. It is a team that you recruit against for students as well as athletes right there on the same level. And for me, this is one you got to go in and get just to get the morale of the fan base back up and headed into next week home opener against Savannah State and then Jackson State right after that. You get this victory right here, I think this does something because this is a marquee game, whether people see it or not, that Southern has not had a true marquee win in quite some time. And for me, this will be one of those games as a marquee win. If we can go in and check that box and get a W next to it, it's something they have not done ever against McNeese State.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Perry. Like I said, I heard you and Scotty the other night too, and I'm on your side on this one. I think this is a must-win game for Southern because you mentioned it. And I've talked to Coach Fred on this on my show too. I think it's also the culture of Southern and the fan base of Southern, right? There might not be a fan base that has higher expectations for their program, but people in Baton Rouge do not accept mediocrity. They expect to compete for SWAC championships year in and year out. If you lose to a McNeese State game, regardless of how revamped that roster is, this was a team that didn't win a game last year. And then, you get past Savannah State, but Southern's going to be underdogs in the 3 games after that, at Jackson, at PV, and then Nichols, who won the Southland Conference last year. So if you're underdogs in your next 3, if you're 1-4 going into that Texas Southern game, man, the momentum and the excitement around the program is already going to be gone. And Terrence Grace hasn't even coached 6 games yet. So that's why this game is important. Because if you go into Jackson 2-0 with a win over McNeese and a talented quarterback like Clifton McDowell, Harry, I think we both feel way more confident in Southern's chances to go into Jackson and compete. But if you go in there 1-1 and you don't look good against McNeese, the energy around the program completely shifts. So I agree with you, man. This is a must-win, and I'm really, really hoping to see a big performance out of Southern tonight.
Zach, man, appreciate you for coming on today, man, and talking this game with me as we break it down. Hey, man, give the people, where can they find you and keep up with you?
Yeah, man, at Zach McKinnell on social media. You can find us FCS Football Central on si.com/college/FCS, and then obviously the Blue Bloods on all podcast streaming platforms and YouTube, man. Myself, my guy, Coach Fred, Timothy Rosario, but Perry, as always, man, I appreciate it and look forward to hopping back on here and chopping it up about some football later this year.
Oh, yes, sir. I have you back, man. Appreciate you, Zach.
Absolutely, man.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side. We're going to have Jim Klein, Peter, the Advocate. We're going to talk to Southern University football, see what that depth chart for today's big matchup against McNeese State looks like. All right, y'all stay tuned. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
For the first time in the 79-year history of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Elite Championship game determines the overall champion today. Live from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, it's the champions of the East, Jackson State, taking on Southern, the champs from the West. Hello, everybody. George Johnson along with Charles Mann. And I got to tell you, a great poet once said this is the way it's supposed to be. And it is. Number 11 Southern taking on number 15 Jackson State. Both programs have won 3 SWAC titles over the decade. So it's only fitting in the first SWAC championship game we determine the program of the decade. We've got a lot of offense out on the field. And yet this guy right here, he's going to tell you this game's all about D.
It's always all about D, George. You know that. It's always all about D.
An all-pro defensive end is going to tell you that. When you think about Jackson State, this is a team that is very potent offensively, but defensively they've led the SWAC throughout most of the year, and they've got the best player in defense in the SWAC, and that's Tommy Head.
Tommy Head. Get used to saying that name. You'll say it all day. He'll be all over the field. He's always around the football. He's the leading tackler on this team. He also has 5.5 sacks.
At one point this year, Southern led the nation in scoring defense. Then they ran into Florida A&M. They've got a lot of guys out there that can get it done, but at the top of the list is DeMarcus Miller.
DeMarcus Miller, the linebacker coach, Terrence Graves, told me there's one word to describe this kid, and that is relentless. He's only 5'10", 285 pounds. He makes a lot of plays, though.
Relentless, appropriate word for our third member of the broadcast team, and that's Joe Clare, who's standing by down on the sideline. Joe?
Yes, indeed. I'm down here on the field capturing all the pageantry and revelry that is black college football. Birmingham, Alabama is a lovely city. This is the inaugural SWAC championship in their city, so they came out to have a good time. I will be covering the bands, the cheerleaders, shout-outs, all of that kind of stuff. Back to you guys up top.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. You know, earlier this year, Southern beat Jackson State, the 4th straight win over the Tigers. But what's most impressive about Southern, they haven't lost a conference game in 25 outings. They put it on the line against Jackson State. We look at the starting lineups brought to you by Western Union Money Transfer, the fastest way to send money worldwide. You saw the backs. Here's your offensive line. Damon Nivens is a first-team All-SWAC member. Defensively, there's your starting lineups for Jackson State's defense. Chandler, Tommy Head, Edward Reese, pretty good middle linebacker. Rashard Anderson is a professional prospect, and they say he will be in the NFL next year. There's your starting lineup. Brought to you by Western Union. Mark Washington is your quarterback. Destry Wright, the all-time leading rusher in school history, is the tailback. Jeremiah Todd.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying today's show as we keeping things rocking and rolling this morning. Guess what? Now it's time to talk some Southern University football as the Jaguars head over to McNeese State today in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and nobody better to talk that with than my guy Jim Klein, Peter of the Advocate. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Perry.
Good to have you on, man. Have my boy Blue on just a second ago talking to us about McNeese State. We broke down McNeese and got a chance to know them from the inside out, offensively and defensively. But now for Southern University, first-year head coach Terrence Graves had his press conference Tuesday. You and I were there. You had an opportunity to talk to him. And now getting this team prepared for his first game with the interim tag off and now having this as he is the true captain of the ship. For you, Jim, right now, depth chart-wise, what are we looking at for Southern University offensively?
Oh, well, I think the most interesting area is the offensive line because it seemed to me in 44 years of covering college football, most schools like to have they get the 5 set and then they have the next best guy. They get the best 6 guys and then they rotate them in. But Terrence Graves is talking about playing 10 guys on the offensive line, and that's probably due to the heat. And you want to keep some fresh people in there. But the offensive line is different from the other positions because you've got 5 guys that have to play in unison every snap. Everybody has to take the right number of steps. You have to step in the right direction, all that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But I don't think they're settled on their offensive line is one of the reasons they're doing that. So that's very interesting. I mean, they got a couple of starters back from last year, and they got a lot of new bodies, and they're probably going to see who, can really react. I think they're pretty set at running back. You got Kendrick Grimes, you got Kobe Dillon, you got C.J. Russell in receivers, you got Tyler Kirkwood, you got Chandler Whitfield, you got lots of experienced bodies, and then of course quarterback. You got Noah Bodden, and I think his poise, his ability to show a little more poise maybe than the other players is the reason he wins out over Xavier T-Set.
Defensively, when you look at the depth chart there, what does Southern look like today as they start this season?
They beefed up their inside guys. They've got some guys back. They got Davin Cotton, Willie Miles, and Zach Yassine back, but they've added some beef, some guys that inside that are going to help them. Darius Jackson, and then their ends. They're strong on the ends. They got Kelby Givens is an All-American. You can't doubt him. They're going to want to sub him out a little bit just to keep him fresh, so he can be the best Kelby Givens in the fourth quarter. And they're going to get a boost up from Darius Harry on the other end. But Jelani Watkins has looked good at the end, and a lot of depth there. So I think their defensive line's looking strong. We'll see how they perform. But the linebackers, you got one of the best in the conference. You got Derek Williams. He's in his 5th year, ready to lead and be the man. And then Joshua Tate, and then Vincent Page has been a find as a newcomer, a guy that they really wanted to go get, and he's made a big impact. He'll be in the rotation. And then the secondary, we'll see. But Rodney Johnson at one corner, and then Horatio Johnson at safety are going to be the guys that help them help bring up the rest of the pack.
We look at today's matchup, Jim. Let's do it like we always do it, man. Let's get a kind of keys to success today for Southern. What matchups are you looking for? First of all, what do you think McNeese can do to give Southern fits today?
Well, they're going to want to go try to rattle Noah Bodden to see if he can see how poised he actually is. This is a guy with 5 career starts, 4 of them at Grambling 3 years ago. So, you gotta show me. On the flip side, McNeese has a guy who's a 6th-year senior, at quarterback, and we all know about McDowell. So, I think they're going to try to rattle Noah Bodden defensively. And last week, McNeese got off to a slow start defensively, but they finished very, very strong. So I think they're going to really come after the Southern offense. And I think probably what Southern's going to try to do is they're going to try to move the chains and run the ball on McNeese defense and try to hold on to the ball and then go from there.
I'm looking at this ball game. For you, watching Southern, what can Southern take away today from watching McNeese last week? Would McNeese already have played a game?
Yeah, I think that I think Southern's defense has its work cut out for it, and they know they got to play up to a higher level than you might expect in a season opener. Clifton McDowell is going to give them fits. I have a feeling it's going to get very frustrating trying to shut him down. He's going to go back to pass. They're going to have the receivers covered, and he's going to get just enough yardage for a first down and move the chains. And that's what you're going to give up some of those, and you got to not let that frustrate you too much, and just come back on the next down and try to stop them on first down and force McNeese into 3rd and longs and force McDowell to where if he does scramble, scrambling for yardage on 3rd down is just a little bit too far to go, and they can stop him short of the sticks. So I think, that's going to be a game within the game right there. He's going to make plays. He's going to break tackles. He's a big guy, 6'5", 230. But Southern's defense, I think they're going to be the strong point of this team all season, especially early in the season while the offense finds itself. But they've got a lot more talent and a lot more depth. Henry Miller's very excited. Best defense he says he's had in 3 years. The most depth he's had, the most players he's had.
What are you looking for out of Coach Terrence Graves? You had an opportunity to ask him some questions this week. Is it how you going to feel a certain type of way, or what is it going to be like when you touch the field? And he kind of gave not really. I've been waiting on this. It's happened for a reason. But for you, what do you think with Terrence Graves?
I think he's gonna glide right into this game. This is you don't coach for 31 years as an assistant and come up and come out shaky, in your first. It's the first time he's been the head coach, but the way his philosophy of head coaching, I think is perfect. I mean, he's a very calm. You can see how plotted and planned he is. How calm. He doesn't get rattled. I just think he's got the right temperament to be a head coach, and at this time, and I think he's not going to let the moment seize him up. He's not going to suddenly look around and say, hey, I'm doing something different. No, he's not going to see it as different. He's going to see, this is what I've been doing for 31 years, and this week, this Saturday is no different.
I think the biggest thing for me today, Jim, is going to be the adjustments, right? Where do I want to go with this? How confident are you in the adjustments with this coaching staff at Southern?
Oh, I think they're going to be good at it. If you remember, I think the last time they played at McNeese, Southern fell behind, but then they made a game of it in the second half. So, Southern can make adjustments. They're smart coaches, okay? McNeese is going to attack. Now, I'm going to say this. McNeese I don't think they really know that much about Southern. I was listening to the McNeese coach, and he was telling me he was talking at his press conference this week that Southern's entire defense is new. Well, that's not the case. Maybe he's playing possum with that comment, but no. I mean, This is not a brand new Southern defense. This is a Southern defense that is matched together. So they're going to attack what they think are weaknesses in Southern, and Southern's going to have to figure out how to respond to that if they don't handle, if they can't stop something that McNeese is doing, they're going to have to make a change in their basic plan. But this happens. Both sides are going to be making adjustments because Southern. I think maybe Southern's defense is going to surprise McNeese a little bit, and maybe they're not going to be as disoriented. And offensively, I think they're going to try. I would say, like I said before, I really think McNeese is going to try to come after Noah Bodden and rattle him early and get him. Trying to make decisions too quickly and going through his reads and try to make him shaky and get the offensive line committing penalties. That's something that in preseason camp, one of the best signs I saw for Southern was that their offensive line in 2 scrimmages, 140 plays or so, 1 false start penalty, and that's not how it was last year.
No, not at all. That offensive line, just costly penalties with false start on third downs and short where it could have been a easy conversion or at least giving yourself a chance and backed you up. When you look at today with the possibility of the weather, now I'm looking at towards game time, it's supposed to clear out, but just in case if weather is a factor, how much does that change the game of today?
Well, weather is like the mentally stronger team and the more physical team, because you're gonna have to. You were talking about adjustments. Well, both teams, if the field is sloppy, both teams are going to have to make adjustments. And their game plan, both teams have probably spent time thinking about that. So they're going to have a plan B in case it's super sloppy, and it's going to help. I don't know that it helps either team because you're playing on the same field, but it's the team that can run the ball between the tackles, I think, in a mosh pit like that. So I like the team that has the more physical offensive line and the more physical running backs and the more physical attitude going in.
You got a prediction for me today?
Man, I hate predictions, Barry. I made a prediction. I picked the Southern to lose this game. I just think it's going to be difficult for their offense. I just think they're going to be building their offense as they go, and it's just a rough opener for their offense and a quarterback and an offensive line that's going to be congealing through the first couple of games. So I see a low-scoring game, and I picked it 20-13 McNeese.
I hope you're wrong, Jim. I
You
hope you're
always
wrong.
do. You always hope I'm wrong.
You're my boy, Jim. Listen, man, I appreciate you for coming on today, man, breaking down this game, giving us some insight, man. I'll get with you hopefully as we start to go like we did a couple years ago. On Sundays, we do those breakdowns and basically game review of what we saw. I know the big game tomorrow with LSU and USC, so I'll get with you. If you're free during the daytime tomorrow, midday, maybe we can get together and do something on the Jaguar Journal Facebook, maybe do a live real quick and a recap of this game if you're available.
Yep, I could probably do something.
All right. Well, hey, y'all hear, that's the voice of Jim Klein-Peter, the Advocate. You read all of his stories because I see it shared everywhere. So this is the voice of Jim. Jim, thank you for coming on today, man.
My pleasure, Perry.
All right, be safe headed over to Lake Charles. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to take a break. We come back on the other side. We get ready to close this thing out. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
watching the Southern University Human Jukebox. Click here to watch more videos. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal. All right, we are back. Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody. I am Perry White. Good to have you guys with us. Glad that you guys are tuned in. Be sure to go follow us on our YouTube, Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And good morning to everybody listening on radio on 107.3 here in Baton Rouge and all our affiliates throughout the state. Good to have you guys with us. Big game. It is week 1, ladies and gentlemen. Football season is here. You get to hear the band cranked up, get your pom-poms ready. Put the flags on the car, get the ponchos, get your whatever paraphernalia. My man Thomas White and Mogul Threads to be over in Lake Charles today. So go back early in the show. He gives you the address about 4 or 5 times. So you can go back early in the show. He'll tell you exactly where to pull up on him to get your apparel for today or for next week or whenever, as well as ponchos just in case you need it. Chance of rain throughout the forecast today, but by the time kickoff at 7 o'clock today, it seems things are going to clear up. And it seems like by the time the lights come on and we're ready for kickoff, all that rain already, what they say, it'd be out of the system, right? Big game today, 7 o'clock kickoff, ESPN Plus. So if you got to have the ESPN app, you can watch today's big matchup, Southern versus McNeese State. It's going to be a big one. FCS matchup within the state. I love these type of matchups. I really do when I get a chance to see FCS games. And listen, I'll get back on it. If you're listening today, for me, this is a must-win for Southern University. The Jaguars have to go in and get a victory today for the morale of the fan base. For 2 years, of course, Eric Dooley was the head coach. He was fired last year. I, just like many others, are not going to be oblivious to what I saw every time I walked out of that stadium and heard and saw the frustration of fans of the Jaguar Nation. I know how you feel because I felt the same way, and I'm not going to sit here on this radio and act like it was all good. It was not. We were starting to really lose the hold of people who believed in this football team, who believed in this program, and who wanted to spend their money to support this program. You could start to see it. And I knew it was over when I saw 2 wonderful, beautiful, classy, very upstanding older ladies, and I heard the words that they were using after a game to describe what was happening. I said, at this point, it's rock bottom. Southern's fan base and everything right now has kind of hit a rock bottom. We need something positive to happen. And for me, positive to happen will be a big victory today. It's just no doubt about it. It has been quite some time since Southern has gotten a marquee victory. For Southern, this would be a marquee victory, no matter what position that McNeese State is in, because Southern has never beaten McNeese State. In over 20 years since it has been the 2000s, we in 2024. So let's go back to the 90s. We know from 2000 to 2024, the Jaguars have not beat a team in the state of Louisiana not named Grambling State. That's Northwestern, that's Nichols, that's Southeastern, that's McNeese, that's LSU, that's Tulane, that's ULM, that's ULL, that's Louisiana Tech. There's a lot of teams. Now, we haven't played Southeastern. We'll be playing Nichols a little bit later in the season. But this is a marquee game. You recruit against these people. They're on the same level as you. You recruit whether it's students coming to your school or athletes that want to attend and play for your school. This is a big victory. And for me, I get it. The SWAC games are all good. We've been doing that for 100 years, right? This one gives me something to brag different because I don't often think they respect us the way that we ask for respect, because all too often when I go there, all they want to know is the band coming. That means you don't care about my football team. You done already wrote my football team off. Let's get some respect today, Jaguar Nation, and to that football team and walk out of Lake Charles where everybody, as you heard, seems to have us as falling short today. So nobody really seems to believe that we can walk out of there with a victory. That's how big that would be for the morale of the fan base today. That's why I'm so excited to say if we go in there and get that and you come into next week against Savannah State in the Pete Richardson Classic, you're starting to help build that morale of the fan base. And if you can go into Jackson State on the road in week 3, undefeated 2-0, listen, that does a lot for the psyche of the fan base. And guess what? People don't have such a problem going in their pockets to go pay for tickets when it comes to the home games. For me, that's how important it is. And we just need a morale boost. It's just as simple as that. We need a morale boost. And because of that, today is going to be big. Southern, everybody thinks you're going to be the loser. Nobody sees, no matter how you feel about McNeese on the FCS level, they still feel McNeese is the better team. Disrespect. That's how big this game is today. This almost, for me, feels like a rivalry game. It almost gives off the vibe of a rivalry game of two teams that are looking to try to pull a victory. McNeese played last week against Tarleton State. They fell short 26-23. Southern had an opportunity to watch them, but at least McNeese had an opportunity to work out some kinks and see themselves on film. Southern is going to have to work out those kinks and work them out quick, fast, in a hurry on the road, but it does not mean that puts them in a position. Hey, this is not an FBS team we playing today. This is an FCS team just like who we are. All right? That's why it is such key. Southern has to go in and get this victory. I'm just looking for me that this is huge and it needs to be done. And if they can get it done today, what that does for the morale of the fan base, it boosts you up. It gives you a marquee victory that we have not had in quite some time. Remember, we have not beaten FAMU and Jackson State in quite some time. In this conference, those have been the marquee games. Last year, you go on the road, you lose to Alcorn. You lose at home to Prairie View. Grambling wasn't the team of Grambling of yesteryear, so the Bayou Classic felt good to win to end the season with a victory. But nonetheless, this right here just feels different. It's game one, and most importantly, the Jaguar Nation is going to show up to Lake Charles, and so you have an opportunity as a first impression to make a lasting impression because you know we travel deep in the state of Louisiana. We break everybody's attendance record, so you know it's not going to be anything any different today in Lake Charles. And when you have people from all over the state wearing that blue and gold, packing this stadium out, which I believe it may just be as many Jaguar fans or more than you will have McNeese at their own home game, you have an opportunity to win people over. And if you can win the fan base over on the road in a tough place where nobody has you picked to win, that is great for the fan base moving forward. You give people something to cheer about, and they ride back proud with the flags flying, coming back towards Baton Rouge and wherever else they're going around the state and the region, because I'm sure there are going to be plenty of people coming over from Texas as well, as Southern has a huge alumni base right there in Houston. So they're going to travel over just a couple of hours to make sure that they come support the Jaguars in Beaumont and all of that area, and plus all the people around the state of Louisiana who are going to come want to watch this game today. It is an opportunity for this coaching staff and this football team on the road in a place that nobody believes you can win to get a victory with your fan base right there supporting you, and we're able to walk away with our heads held high saying we was able to do something. Everybody counted us out. That's just how I feel today. It's time for us to get that victory. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Hey, just become a supporter. That's all we need. If you're watching us on our Facebook page, hit that follow button, okay? We'd love to have you, and thank you for everybody listening on the radio all across the state and no matter where. Hey, I appreciate you guys. My man Thomas White, Mogul Threads, will be set up today. Get your apparel and maybe a poncho if you need it over there in Lake Charles. Want to thank Dr. Kedrick Taylor. The band will be in Lake Charles today for today's big game. My man Zach McKinnell, a.k.a. Blue, from FCS Football Central, talking to me and breaking down today from the McNeese side, and my man Jim Klein Peter, the advocate, talking to me, breaking down the depth chart for today. Man, I want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every Saturday, listening to me. I hope you guys enjoyed. I try to make sure I give you guys a great show and give you what you want when you're looking for information. And that's all I'm trying to do here, man. And so I appreciate you guys for everything. Everybody be safe traveling over to Lake Charles. And if you're going to watch the game and not be able to make it, it will be televised on ESPN Plus. Get the ESPN app and you'll be able to watch the stream on the ESPN Plus at 7 o'clock with this kickoff. So hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Jim and I may be doing a live tomorrow on the Jaguar Journal Facebook page. So stay tuned as we may review today's matchup. So I love you guys, man. I hope you guys love me. And I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I love the Jaguars and the Jaguar Nation. So let's get this victory today, man. And as always, I'll be back next week at the same time in the same place because it's the Jaguar Journal. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook.